Good morning, Carl Hinder. So nice to have you. And today we're going to be talking about your first article that is in the Salonpreneur Magazine. I have to put this up every time we talk about it. So your article was called, or is called, there's Carl there, Why Knowledge is Not Enough. And so the premise of these little videos is just so we can have a little bit of a chat and just sort of talk through some of the elements of what's in your article and kind of what inspired it. And yeah, so if you just want to give everybody, in case they don't know who Carl Hinder is, a quick rundown of who you are. And then if you just want to kind of just, you know, give us an idea of what this article's about and we can have a chat.
Great. Lovely to see you, Sue. Right, and guys, if you don't know me, my name's Colin Hinder. I'm the business coach with Salon Help. And this is my membership group behind you, Massive Not Passive as well, which probably sums up the way that I coach as well. Look, diving straight into the article, why knowledge is not enough. The reason I decided to write about that on this occasion is because all salon owners in all sectors and subsectors are really good at gathering lots and lots of knowledge. And you guys, you gather it from everywhere. You gather it from YouTube, you'll gather it off social media, you read books, you'll go on courses. You guys are fabulous, fabulous, fabulous at gathering knowledge. And the bit I wanted to kind of like trigger, if you like, is why don't you do anything with it? All right. The majority, I think that includes us as well, Sue. I think we're also good at gathering more and more information. You know, I've got books all over my house. I got different books in different bathrooms.
I've
In
got
my
piles at the moment.
yeah,
We're
yeah.
moving we're doing my office, and so eventually it won't be in this backdrop. But we've had to move all of my piles of books, and they're now just stacked on a desk in there. Oh, it's just so many.
Yeah, and so we're good at gather, and maybe some of us or some other people are good at using the knowledge more than others. However, by and large, most people gather the knowledge, pay for the knowledge quite often as well, and don't do anything with it. And I wanted to say in the article, first of all, it's normal, it's natural, and it's almost not acceptable because gathering knowledge isn't going to change your business. So I wanted to kind of analyze why do we put ourselves in that position? And I kind of started off by saying, well, the reason that we are knowledge-based people, by and large, is because of our schooling system. When you went to school, if you went to school, maybe there's a few on you who didn't go to school, but when we went to school, knowledge was imparted. Yeah,
Yeah,
we just sat there, right? In my day, it was a blackboard, okay, and a piece of
yeah,
chalk, okay, and then they went on to whiteboards, and now they got, whatever it is. We're imparting information, and so we are used to gathering knowledge. And even at school, we weren't very good at analyzing it,
yeah,
unless you were on the science side of things. You was just told this is history, this is religion, this is English, and you took that information. And so they never taught us what to do with this stuff. They never taught us to analyze our problems and apply the knowledge.
yeah,
And that's the kind of starting point, really. Is listen, guys, there's nothing wrong with you apart from you have been trained to gather information and not use it.
yeah,
Uh,
absolutely.
but if you want to be more successful, probably in most aspects of your life, you got to take that knowledge and do something with it. And really, that's really kind of where I was heading with all of this.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think the first thing to ask yourself is why don't we use the knowledge? Oh,
Yeah.
and in the article, actually, I also talk about um, the other prompt for this article was someone talking about AI. So we'll
Yeah.
we'll we'll touch on that as well.
It's because I do think it's, you know, I mean, I know that I have got untold courses, and I think probably this has escalated a little bit since all the lockdowns and stuff, when there were so many people at home, everyone was a bit bored, everyone thought, oh, an online education, although that had been around for a long time, was probably that was probably the peak of online education. And so we all bought loads of online courses, whether they were things that perhaps we shouldn't have been doing online, some practical courses that suddenly went online that probably shouldn't have been. But I know for me, I took loads of theoretical courses, and I bought loads. I certificated myself in so many ways, and some of them I did and I completed and I utilized, but I still have probably two courses that are actually really useful that I haven't completed. Um, and I've kind of gone through them, but I haven't done the assessments. And they're things that'd be really, really good for my business. But I just have, now we're back in the real world and have been for some time, trying to find time to use that education And it isn't necessarily even about how to finish in those courses. It is then about how you apply it in your business and how you apply it in your personal life or whatever those, because it might be that you took a course on, you know, how to be a better person or whatever.
Well, I think the first thing is the reason we don't use this information. I mean, the COVID era, it really kind of impacted on that. But I think we was a bit like it before, and we're still
Definitely.
like it now. So you've got to think about the first reason I don't use all this information, or we don't use all this information, is because we are overwhelmed with just life, right? And you know, I'm a really true business coach. So I'm really focused always on someone's business because I actually believe, you know, a healthy business gives you a much better life. But that's why we start now. For salon spa owners, most of us, or most of them, depending on what boat you're in, are also active therapists, technicians, you know, whatever. And when you are in that position where you're working all day as well, yeah, you're working maybe 3 days a week, 4 days a week, 5, 6 days a week.
Mm-hmm.
When do you actually release the time to say, right, I am going to grab one of Carl's courses, I am going to work through it, and I am going to take those actions in there? And so we are overwhelmed. And I think maybe that's not overwhelm, that's probably overload as opposed to
Yeah.
overwhelm. And then when we get to the knowledge itself, it's very exciting. I get excited. Yeah. If I can find some more new knowledge, I get excited, and I'm overwhelmed by the amount of work I've got to do. But
I
we,
think we get a bit addicted as well, don't we?
yeah,
It's a bit of an addict. And I think for some of us, it's a necessity to learn because we have to do it if we've got new pieces of equipment and so on. But I think then I know I do. I love having another course in my thing waiting for me to do.
yeah, yeah. Well, and as a coach, I actually love producing them. And I think psychologically in my mind, I'm thinking I'm going to help someone solve their
Yeah.
problem. You know what I mean? So it's addictive for me as well to keep coming up with solutions.
Yeah.
But maybe I'm actually creating some
We're all,
even more overwhelm for someone because they're going, oh my God, Carl's got another solution.
yeah.
It's gonna be good, but I haven't done the other two courses
Yeah.
or something yet.
That's it.
So I think we got to look out why we don't. So the overwhelm thing is a real issue for everyone because we got busy lives. But I think the first thing is when we look at ourselves as therapists or technicians, is we hide away from dealing with things. I wanted to do the hard kind of facts really first. The
Mm.
hard facts are when we're a therapist and we're in a treatment room for 6, 7, 8 hours a day, there's a self-justification that I'm working really, really hard. And Carl, what more do you want me to do? I'm in this cupboard. I call it the cupboard, by the way, just to
Yeah.
tease them. I'm in the cupboard from, 8 until 5, 8 until 6, and maybe 8 until 8. What do you want me to do? Well, I clearly, if you follow my coaching, I want you to come out of the cupboard. I want you to get off the back of a chair if you're in the hairdressing sector. I want you to I want you to spend more time on your business and not in the business. But
Liberate yourself.
but the self-justification is I'm working my socks off. Yeah. And there's a justification I get at the end of the day. I'm absolutely knackered. I'm exhausted. I really enjoyed that, by the way. So
Yeah.
why wouldn't I do that again? I've just put another £1,000 in the till or £500, whatever it is your business is. So you justify it. I've put money in the till. I've really enjoyed myself. What more can I do? And if you are one of those people, then that's your first block. Your first block is you're enjoying that bit too much. Whereas the psychology has to say, I've got to find that enjoyment in the business side of things.
Yeah.
You know, I've got a mini course out there which is about working less and earning more, and it's all about swapping the emotion of the treatment,
Yeah.
the positive emotion, I mean, for the positive emotion of, say, doing a marketing plan. Now
Yeah. And that sounds like quite a big leap.
it's a big leap in it. That's a big jump to go from, doing a beautiful facial where it's tranquil and all relaxing
Yeah.
and the client absolutely loves you and it's whatever, £80, £100,
Yeah.
and to then say, I'll go and sit at the desk and do a marketing plan and Carl wants me to get excited about it.
Yeah.
But until the day you do, you're going to struggle. You're just going to keep gathering knowledge and you're not going to progress.
Yeah. And I think as well, and I'm getting, because I quote a phrase you said on my podcast when you first came on my Inspiring Salon Professionals podcast, and there's a phrase you use, and I was only quoting it last week on an interview I did with someone else about being a therapist with a set of keys.
Yeah.
And And that has stuck with me so much, because I know at different points I've been a therapist with a set of keys. And I know that, and especially now, there's even more therapists with a set of keys, or stylists with a set of keys.
Yeah.
And it isn't necessarily the keys to a full, high street salon. It's just the keys to owning a business.
Yeah.
And I think that getting excited about a marketing plan is probably the most surprising thing when you have a business, because you have got to get excited about having a marketing plan. There's no getting away from it, because if you don't market your business, you aren't going to have the clients there to have that emotional contact with and be able to deliver that service. And so it becomes part of delivering that service. And I think that as many of the newly self-employed that we have in this industry need to learn to have that passion to create the marketing plan. We were just saying before we started interviewing, weren't we? I've been spending the last few days rebuilding my website, and it isn't my most fun thing that I love doing, but it's a means to an end, and I do get some satisfaction out of doing it. But it's the change, isn't it?
Yeah, well, some of that's about is eat the frog, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Doing some of the things that we don't want to do, but the results are rewarding financially or fulfilling in some way. So yeah, I mean, it's really hard to swap the emotions of treatments for the emotions of business. But there's very few salon owners I've ever met who don't benefit from making that leap.
Yeah.
A very few actually salon owners who are working 5 days a week that ever reach their financial potential that I've ever known or ever met. You know what I mean? And certainly these days, I could probably find more people 10 years ago that could work 5 days as a therapist and have a really high operating business. Now, that's maybe another discussion for another day, why that is, because life has changed an awful lot.
Yeah, definitely.
But these days, if you're spending 5 days in a treatment room, you're not going to reach your potential. And then maybe another discussion is about, are people less financially ambitious, or have people resigned to financial ambition? Okay.
Yeah,
Anyway,
that's an interesting one.
another day, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
One of the areas, though, that I do want to dive on so we don't miss out on this is one of the key areas why business owners don't use the knowledge, don't apply what they know, is actually, now you've probably heard of fear of failure, right? Everyone's probably, oh yeah, yes, but there's also such thing as fear of success.
Yeah,
Now,
definitely.
you wouldn't think so, would you? Think, well, oh no, you're worried about being a millionaire. No, I'm not, but you are, right? Not
Yeah.
you, Sue.
Well, no, but no, I'll be honest. And sometimes I do think that has held me back,
Yeah,
because I know when I had my salon, I was sitting very comfortably below the VAT threshold.
yeah. Well, that's a
And
great example.
that fear of success was quite limiting,
Yeah,
because once you have even just 5% more success, your life's going to change.
yeah,
And your responsibilities are going to change.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think that VAT threshold is terrifying to so many people.
And I don't blame them. You know what I mean? I work a lot with people trying to get them over that hurdle.
Yeah.
And those that go over the hurdle go on to great things. Those that don't have a very limited future.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
just
absolutely.
it's
Yeah.
going to be limited by the VAT and inflation. But the fear of success and failure, though, the fear of failure is quite obvious. You know what I mean? Oh my God, if I start implementing all this stuff and it doesn't work,
Yeah.
I'm going to be worse off than I am. I think we shouldn't criticize anyone for that. It seems like good logic to me. All right.
Yeah. And
But
it's quite a human thing, isn't it? It's like,
yeah,
it's
yeah,
all that what if stuff, isn't it?
yeah. But then the fear of success, um, this combines with something called a status quo bias, which is, I just actually want things to stay the same. Right? I'm really happy that things are not great and things are not terrible, so I better not do anything at all. But this fear of
That's the part.
success isn't it? Yeah, goes a little bit further. And I'm going to give an example so everyone can get this fear of success in their mind. One good example would be, now, if you're working with me, I'm definitely going to work on your pricing structures.
Yeah.
Okay. And you'll all agree, look, Carl, if I had great prices, I'd probably make more profit and I'd have higher sales and I'd have a better business and a better life, right? Very few people would disagree with that general statement. But when we go to implement it and we realize that there's a price increase in most circumstances,
Yeah.
now the side effect of this success is I've now got a negative experience with my client.
Mm,
And I would much rather keep my sales down, keep my prices down, have less for me and my family. That's the bit I find most interesting. I would rather have less, and I'd rather my family have less than reproach or approach a client and have that discussion that maybe they see it as a confrontation, maybe lose a client. That is the fear of success. What do I do in the steps as I'm working my way to a successful business?
yeah.
I find that totally clear. I understand why, but I find that totally amazing.
Yeah, I think people are, and I think that whole pricing thing, and I know, you've coached on this for years, and all the time I've known you, it's been like the thing that, that's where you need to go. If you need pricing, go
Yeah,
and see Carl. And I do think, I mean, I know in my business, I had people around me that every time I did a price increase, were going, don't do that, we'll lose all the clients. And it's like, but you won't lose the clients because your clients come to you for way more than the price. Some people come to you because you are high priced, because they
yeah,
want to be seen to be spending that money. And
yeah,
if they went to, the discount salon down the road, they wouldn't want to be seen dead in there because they're not spending enough money. So you
yeah,
end up in this really peculiar world, don't you, where you get led by the assumptions that you have about your own income and about your own situation, and actually get it very, very wrong about the people that are coming to you. And if you set your standards at the right place, and you set your client experience at the right place, and your client journey, then pricing should go in line with that. And if you have high standards, and you constantly keep up your CPD, and you make sure you're doing all the things you need to do, why shouldn't you charge for it?
Well, and that's a really interesting session this morning before meeting up with you on um, one of my clients. We've, in effect, in the last year, doubled her prices. And the fear of success barrier was not just a client, of course, which I think that, and that wasn't necessarily we were going to do it all in one day, but the reality, I can understand that. But it was also the fear of success was going to affect the staff, because the staff were protesting. All right, like, she'll never pay it, or I don't want to charge
Yeah.
it.
This is what I used to get.
Yeah, 12 months on, though, really interestingly, at a really high energy meeting this morning, um, the client explained to me that the staff are now really proud, yeah, that they are part of something which is much more higher level,
Yeah,
much more higher quality, that they are responsible for a much more higher price, the pride in themselves, the way that they discuss money. Because with my clients, I talk about how do we discuss money with clients, for staff, because we never train staff on how to talk about money,
no.
right? We always let them do whatever they want. But I mean, that's not the same scenario for everyone. But we've doubled the price. We've got the client on side because they realize they get something amazing. We've got the staff on side because there's something, a part of something bigger and better. And these are the battles that's probably the benefit without, what do they say? Blowing my own smoke. That is
Yeah,
probably the benefit of having good coaching.
yeah,
Yeah. So everyone out there, getting the right support around you, getting the right people around you, and also this, even the magazine to that greater degree, where you got a lot of coaches on there giving you good, genuine guidance, information. You can reach out to any of them, right?
absolutely.
Dep-
And I think that is the beauty with the magazine, isn't it? Is that, everybody, I think it makes all of everybody that's writing for the magazine, and the other contributors, and anybody that's attached to it,
yeah,
is it just makes people more accessible. And it gives people an in and a different understanding. It gives a snippet of free information from each coach every time. And it just opens people's eyes. And it's giving them that information and knowledge, that they can then go and act on.
well, I think the magazine gives them an insight into to the speciality of the coaches as well in some cases, but also the personality of the guys,
Yeah,
because that's really important when
absolutely.
especially when you're going through emotional change, the business change. Listen, guys, I'll crush any business change with you. The emotional changes are also quite often more difficult than the business changes.
Yeah, definitely.
You know what I mean?
Definitely. And it is,
So,
and it's something like, like me and I was just chatting with Debbie Allen, and we both work with people to help them with those emotional challenges. So there's,
yeah,
the blend of different people that we have through the magazine that you can kind of get to know what they do, how they help you. I just think it's like it's a magical collaboration. I love it. But then I'm
I think
biased.
it's just it's a magical window for any salon spa clinic owner who identifies with any of these issues. Yeah,
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
quite often, right, we could talk about all of this knowledge. Let's go back to the knowledge of this article, right? Sometimes it's right, got the knowledge, Carl, right? Um, where do I start?
Yeah,
That's quite. It's like going on a diet, isn't it? It's like, yeah, but like I know I've got to lose 3 stone.
yeah,
Where do I start? Do
yeah,
I get advice? Do I go to the gym first? Do I go fasting? Do I take the injections? What do I do?
yeah.
Where do I start? And I think the magazine's going to give really good guidance on where to start.
Absolutely. And I really, really do think that, everything you're talking about in your article, and that's the fear of success, and that, actually eating the frog and actually using the knowledge you've got in a way that's going to help you push your business forward is so important. And we need to understand, don't we, that it's all very well, we can buy, £109 courses online, but if you don't action them, sometimes the bigger investments, and it is whether that's booking to have a one-to-one with Carl, or booking a sort of, a plan with Carl, or any of the other people that you come across in the world, once you actually make that investment, you are so much more likely to achieve success as a result of it. There's a whole
Yeah.
thing. And I think I know I probably mentioned this before. I know I've definitely mentioned it because I think he's a very clever guy, and I've lost his name now. Jay Crom, who is one of the directors of Kajabi, and he talks about a lot. There's a podcast I listened to years ago with him on there, and he talks about the fact that if you do it yourself, like read the book, and if you go and buy a self-help book on Amazon, you're probably only about 5 or 10% likely to implement anything that's in there. But as you invest more money and you buy the course and you do like a one-to-many, you're slightly more, the chances of you actually using that information successfully increases. And if you actually do it as a one-to-one, or like a one to very small ratio, the chances are that when you have that level of support from the person that's imparting the information and knowledge to you, that you will complete it, because they'll hold your hand through that process and help you get there.
Yeah.
And that's the whole point of coaching, isn't it?
Yeah. I think once a salon owner finds their reason,
Yeah,
yeah, once they find their reason for wanting to be successful, I mean a real reason, not a throwaway, or I just want more money, right? Because well, more money is I can do that in 10 minutes. I just pull your prices up by a 10p. You'll have more money, still won't be enough money. Once you
no,
find your real reason, and I always go back to, you should be rewarded um, mainly for the reward should be for you and your family. Yeah.
yeah,
I usually find that works for me as a coach, but it usually works for most people. Once you find your real thing, the pathway to success is much easier than you think.
yeah,
It's when you don't have a real reason that you believe in. You know, I just want to be bigger. I just want to be better. I just want that's nothing. That's just putting a bit more emotional effort in. So that's what you got to do. You really got to find, the real reason. The
yeah,
one thing about this article is, in a kind of summary, if you like,
yeah,
it's nobody ever failed because they had too much knowledge. All right.
no,
Nobody said, like, oh, I know too much. So my business closed because I know too much. It failed because we didn't implement
yeah,
either that knowledge or the right knowledge. We don't implement things. Um,
absolutely.
I just wanted to throw this in here because it's very, very topical at the moment. One of the things that's really, really topical at the moment, you and I have talked about it before we even came on air, was the impact of AI.
Yeah,
And even right now, and listen, guys, you are now going to think that that's going to solve everything for you. And someone did say to me, and it was kind of the inspiration for the article, and you can read the article and find out more. Someone said, Carl, we're probably not going to need you in a little while because we'll have AI, and there'll be elements of that. And I'm also very happy with that. The coaches, we're also using AI as well, guys. But the
yeah,
reality is, the knowledge that AI can give you, if you was to go into, just to search it, has been available on Google since 1998. Knowledge is not your problem. The
no,
implementation of the knowledge is. Okay.
yeah,
Use AI to get implementing things, please, guys. Yeah. And if you can do that alongside a great coach, it's going to really, really help you.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for coming on today, Carl. And as always, a lovely conversation full of loads of takeaways for people. And yeah, and I think we will be doing this with each publication of the magazine, so that we, just so people get to know everybody a little bit more. Because I think that's what's important, isn't it? It's just like, having a face to the person and a voice to the
Yeah.
person that they see online really, really helps
Well,
people.
it's one thing seeing a static image, isn't it?
Yeah.
Of someone on social media blasting around the place, but when you
Yeah.
get to see them sharing their emotions and their beliefs in the way that their energy
Yeah.
depicts,
Absolutely.
I think people can connect a lot better. So yeah, thanks, Hugh. It's been a great
That's
little
okay.
session.
Lovely. Thanks so much, Carl.
No problem.